everybody, Jamie Wozni here, modern day seer and priestess of the divine. And I help those of you who feel dishonored in your truth, afraid to live a life fully expressed as you, and afraid you're not going to be able to be abundant and provided for as yourself. I help you learn about how to love yourself again, how to honor yourself, how to balance your masculine and feminine energies, and how to reconnect back to that source within you as your source so that you can have soul-aligned success. You can live a life of joy and flow and ease as yourself, being the medicine that you came here to be, right? A full cornucopia of abundance that is your one beautiful life. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, thank you all for being here. So I'm going to try something a little different today. I would love to share with you a little bit about my journey and my story, about where I was and where I am, and what I've moved through and how I see the world differently, so that if you are in similar places to where I was, perhaps it will help you feel more courageous, more safe, more in possibility that, hey, this does exist and I can have it too. Okay, so I do have some notes up because I want to make sure that I am getting all of this in for you. So if you see me glancing over, that is what I'm doing. So grab a cup of tea and listen up. It's story time. Okay, so when I was little, I was very shy. I remember telling my mom I was afraid of everything. I mean, everything scared me. And I was very sensitive, because I'm a healer now. So those of you that are also empathic or probably really sensitive kids, not by everyone in my family, but by some predominant caretakers, innocently, of course, my feelings were ignored. I experienced a lot of gaslighting with, no, you're okay, or you're fine, or trying to be positive. So I was a very big feeler, and it was ignored. And so I didn't really know what to do with it or where to put it. Kind of feels like one of those champagne bottles that was going to explode. I grew up around a lot of intimacy issues where depth wasn't really allowed. My heart was really big and open, and I could sense that it made those around me uncomfortable with that level of love. So I had this feminine big expression. I had all these big feelings. I had this vibrancy to me, but it wasn't met on the outside. So it was just this like, not quite sure what to do with the allness and fullness of me. I experienced trauma. My parents, I had some sexual trauma in my past. I experienced my parents divorcing when I was little. So all the fears of rejection, abandonment, feeling unsafe came. I felt too much. Fear was just a really big thing for me. Fear and anxiety. I grew up in a religious upbringing. And so I was always really afraid of God's wrath for some reason. I remember my mom would say, which now I cuss all the time, but my mom would cuss when I was little, and I would say, ask for forgiveness, you're not going to be okay. And so I was so scared something bad was going to happen to her, because there was all this powerful stuff outside and we weren't okay unless we asked for forgiveness. So just a very powerless approach to life. Learned how to be the quiet one, learned how to be the good girl, learned how to be appropriate, learned how to comfort every situation, just get really small, have that codependent experience. So it was a middle-class upbringing, Republican, hardworking, pride for your hard work, very separate sense of separate self-reality. So not a reality that is you're powerful within, you're worthy and deserving, it's safe to be yourself. Grew up around a lot of addiction and unworthiness. And so that was what I experienced as a child in a nutshell. Obviously, it's more complex, there's more details, but just so you get a sense if this also sounds like you. All right, so I believed you had to work really hard to get what you wanted. I believed, and what I was also told was, in which most of us are raised in, the broken fix-it model. So because of all of my fears, because of my sensitivities, I had a lot of physical issues. I started getting bladder infections when I was 7. It led to stomach issues when I was in middle school, panic attacks. Anxiety led to chronic Lyme when I was older, just all sorts of physical things happening, which again, innocently, the Western model is, let's take you in, let's give you medication to fix this. So everybody around me was afraid of my big experience, be it physical or emotional. I didn't really have someone that was, hey, this is okay. Let me sit with you and just say to you, this experience is okay. This is energy moving through you. Is there something you need? Do we need to readjust something for you? Do you just need to tell me that you're afraid? And again, the operating system around me was the operating system around me. People could only give me what they knew to give me. But I didn't know that there was nothing wrong with me. I didn't know I just needed to process a feeling or ask for what I need or know how to clear other people's energy from my field because I was feeling so much, or feel safe being myself around people who didn't feel safe being themselves. So they shut down. So then I shut down, you know? So that was what I grew up around. What's wrong with me? Emotions aren't allowed. Had to be the good girl, anxious. Life was scary. And I was this separate self. Okay, so core pain, which we've kind of opened up to, was this anxious, scared, unsafe. The phrase I've heard most of my life is, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not allowed to feel what I feel. What I feel is too big. It doesn't really fit in here. A lot of attachment issues. My mom was an incredibly safe space for me, so terrified to leave her to go to any other place in life because it was just like, this isn't okay. No one else accepts me here. I'm too sensitive for this. I feel too much here. Codependency, really at the core, hiding who I was to be loved, shutting down my bigness, shutting down my feminine energy, that my divinity is enough, that I am soft, that I am tender, that I feel a lot, that I am intuitive, that I am magnetic. Like, that all went bye-bye. Okay. People pleasing. So I wanted to be a journalism major, which I ended up being. I graduated from college and I wanted to be a reporter for a news station. And then after that, that crumbled because I was too sensitive for that. I was around every negative thing that came into the news station. And the whole thing was, which like negative thing can we report on first? So my sweet little body was like, fuck this, like that don't feel good. Had my first panic attack, got rushed out in an ambulance. And so I said to my mom, is this all life is supposed to be? And she said, no, honey, what do you want to do? And when I grew up, one of the things I loved was acting. Shy little me lit up on stage because I think it was a place where I had permission to be in my bigness and my fullness and my emotions. It was like the first place where it was like, well, it might not be okay in real life, but if people think you're an actress, you can go there and open up and have this experience to be unapologetically yourself, and no one's going to think you're weird or too much for that. So it was beautiful because I had this experience, but I think there was still a part of me that was just trying to be seen as an actress. I never felt seen because it wasn't safe to let me out. And so who was being applauded and received when I was younger was a version of me that was the quiet girl, the good girl, the appropriate girl, the over masculinized girl that works really hard for what she wants. Okay. So the disillusionment, I had this panic attack at the news station, realized there's more to life, started to learn just from that moment to follow my joy. Like maybe there are things that aren't for you, that you can't, I remember we didn't even have a lunch break. I almost wanted to take up smoking because I noticed the smokers got quick 5-minute breaks. And I'm like, if that shit's going to give me a break, maybe I'll smoke. Not really. I mean, I never ended up doing that, but this was where I started to realize, that joy is a possibility too, Okay. So then I moved to LA. I'm doing acting for a while, and I had this dream that I died. And what it was to me was this phoenix rising rebirth moment. And I found my first natural doctor and decided to come off of my anxiety medication because I knew that it was a Band-Aid for something deeper. I wasn't into spirituality. I wasn't into natural healing things. There was just something in me that was like, I'm not supposed to be on this. What happened though was I came off of my anxiety medication and my birth control, which I'd been on those for 10 to 14 years. All the emotions I had suppressed from when I was young that I thought were too big, too emotional, wrong, inappropriate, you know, the love and the sadness, because I didn't have something suppressing it anymore, came rising to the surface, which stressed my body, which was when the chronic Lyme came on, all these mysterious symptoms. And I continued, because this was the paradigm my mind was in the broken fix-it model, the terrible fear that will come along. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. Go to this doctor, go to that doctor. And it was beautiful because it brought me on the path of learning about natural medicine, alternative medicine, food is medicine. So I got to go on this really beautiful path, but it wasn't coming from the place of, when the fear settles, what does my heart say? What does God say? What does higher self say? What does joy say? Okay. So I wrote down, what's wrong with you and how do we fix your bigness? Yeah, that was what I thought. Okay, so I had all sorts of symptoms, chronic Lyme, lung issues, traumatic injuries, hiding my voice, going too fast, couldn't slow down, victim energy, lack of boundaries, trying to please others. It all fell apart, right? There were so many things, lack of resources in my life, lack of love in my life, very anxious, and my body breaking down were the catalysts for my change. So what does this mean for me now? I have moved from masculine to feminine. I have had to find the courage to say, that was their experience that was projected onto you innocently, but this hurts so much, this isn't what is natural. So I've had to relearn natural ways of being, right? And what is natural to a feminine energy person? So how can I be the things I've learned, the main things, I've learned many things, but how can I be in my feminine energy instead of over masculinized, which means in my flow, in my softness, in my feelings, in my intuition, in my balance, in my receptivity, where I'm not thinking, analyze, working. I'm feeling, I'm aligning with the energy of my heart. I'm listening to my heart. I'm listening to my wisdom. So I had to learn to come back into balance with that. I had to learn to love myself again, because I learned we got to not love ourselves and reject ourselves in order to be loved, afraid of being abandoned and rejected. So I've one of the biggest words I say often is self-honoring. What do I need? What do I want? You know, what is going to be the highest and best for me? And when I contribute to me, I'm in the energy of self-love then. I'm in the energy of contribution. And that is what creates nourishment and abundance in my life, not shutting myself down to please other, okay? I had to learn I'm not the victim. I had to learn that while there are really uncomfortable things happening in life, life is a mirror showing me what needs to be healed in me. Innocently, I'm, because of what was passed down, perpetuating an old pattern. And can I wake up to see that I'm not the victim of that? What needs to be loved? Is there a boundary I need to implement? Is there a feeling I need to allow to move through me, right? I've had to learn to speak my truth and to follow my joy, okay? My body doesn't want to go fast. My body wants to be honored and respected. I've had to learn my own speed. I've had to learn my own path and my own joy. And I've seen we all have this sacred blueprint that's different than everybody's else. And it's okay to be autonomous and to have authority over your life. And you are powerful, and you are powerful and lovable when you're aligned with your nature. You don't have to throw who you are and your beautiful, unique essence away to be loved by other, right? That's just the pattern that's been perpetuated for a long time. I've had the gift of knowing there's an easy way to things in life. Doesn't mean lazy, doesn't mean non-doing, but I used to think I wouldn't find the easy solution because it was this really long, arduous thing. that I would be on, because I was like, well, hard work, that's how we pride ourselves off of this. But there's flow. There's let me slow down, let me tune in, let me listen. There's inspired action. There's let me pray to source, because I'm connected, I'm part of source, and let me get inspiration to let this next part of my life be created through me. So I've gotten this gift of saying, hey, I'm terrified. I don't have many examples of this way of being in love, in feminine energy, in connection to source. But when I start to test the waters, oh my God, there's ease available. Oh my God, there's a thing where you can follow your joy and be rewarded handsomely for it. Oh my gosh, there is fluidity where one thing moves to the other, and I show up to a piece of paper and have an idea, and this thing writes itself. Okay? So afraid. I was so afraid that I wouldn't be seen or recognized for who I truly was, or respected. Well, if I'm that version, people aren't going to respect that, because people respect hard work. They respect trouble. They respect this is blood, sweat, and tears. So I've had to say, well, I'm going to respect myself at the end of the day, and God's going to respect me at the end of the day. And I am open to the possibility of being respected and seen and recognized and loved as myself, in balance with my masculine and feminine energies, honoring my desires, honoring my needs, honoring my truth, honoring my passions and what it is I want to do and what it is I want to speak of. It's a process. It's a process, especially when you're a light worker, because that's something that doesn't even exist. And me with my religious upbringing coming up against, oh God, who talks about this stuff? It's going to pull up a whole bunch of stuff. But what I've had to learn is when I choose me, that's where the healing happens, right? That's where the body starts to heal, because you're in the energy of love. It's not rearranging a whole bunch of stuff out there to be okay, like I was trying to do. I got to control my reality to be safe. It's no, I honor me to be safe. That's when the cells of my body start to heal. That's when soul-aligned success in all areas of my life come. I've had to honor my needs and wants and desires in my relationship. Terrified this person could leave. Guess what? I end up getting what I want, right? Finding new opportunities in business. Guess what? As I go, continue to feed back to me ways in which I can make money doing things that are so unique, haven't even been created in the world, right? So I can have success in that way too. And my body, which was the toughest challenge for me, continues to heal. I still have, which I'm working on, my lung symptom, and I have a sneaking suspicion why it's there. And so my mind is working through being in deep service and honoring of my voice. But my God, I used to have debilitating periods, like on the floor, crying. Healed that, overcome my bladder issues. So many things in my life have resolved just by living in this new way of being, and continue to do so as I continue to feel all those big feelings that I never let myself feel before. Okay. So I think I've said this, but my biggest ahas were that I can follow joy and be abundant. I can be vulnerable and not abandoned. I can be sensitive, and it isn't a wrongness or a superpower, right? Like that who I am is such a gift, and I just thought it was problematic and a burden to people around me. But it never was. It's just that they thought that part of themselves was problematic and a burden to other people. So trying to protect me from me being a problem. So let's just shut her out from that. So it's kind of I'm just kind of seeing that as I'm speaking to you. It's a false attempt at loving you, right? Let's love her the way we learn to be loved. Let's protect her. But I didn't need protection from this bright, beautiful, full bloom that's here to be a gift to planet Earth. And same for you. Same for you. What else did I realize? Feminine energy is the way. It's not about being imbalanced in your masculine. And now if you take my feminine energy course, which I'll tell you about at the end, it's not about saying masculine energy is bad. It's just very imbalanced. So we're just coming back into balance with our masculine and our feminine energy, okay? I give myself what I'm craving from the outside world. So I use the world now as a mirror. What am I really needing? Can I give it to myself? And then the quantum field that is me will reflect that back once I am full and whole from within. God shows up, genius shows up when I do. I can open up, I have a creative mind I can open up to for answers, sources within me. I don't need to seek externally to be whole and complete. I open up to it, and I am worthy and deserving of being honored. And authentic me, this story, your story, is the medicine. It's so crazy that it's like, that's medicinal. Yes, that's medicinal. So what have I released? I've released overworking. This may change. I work 4 days a week, and I've been doing that for years now. And I make more money than I did when I was working 5-6 days a week, because I take care of myself. I sleep at least 8 hours a night. I get good sleep. I prioritize nature. I prioritize friends. I understand that when I do things that are light and joyful to me, I'm in that energy, and it brings that abundance to me. Right? And then I can be in balance with my masculine and my feminine. I've released a lack of boundaries. I finally feel safer in my yeses, in my nos, continually working on overgiving, that me just being me is enough. People pleasing, rushing around like a chicken with my head cut off. These are things I've released. And meeting others' needs and not mine. And living literally so out of alignment with who I was and who I came here to be. Just lost from that connection to like, this hasn't even been created yet. If you're a light worker, you're an entrepreneur of God. Like your job title, the descriptions of the job is created in the present moment, and you know it by the way it feels. It feels light, it feels right, it feels true. And so to have that level of honoring of your truth, and just to say, okay, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do. And, you gotta move past all the people pleasing and the fear to be that okay with, wow, I'm a leader of light and I'm creating this entire new path. And that's a thing, and that exists, and that's okay. And I will be provided for there, and I'm safe there. It's just this quiet little internal compass. So I've released the need to live externally and devote to living internally guided. So soul aligned success is what I call that. What have I received? An easier life, a flowing life, a healing life, an expansive life, a life where I get magic, synchronicities, miracles, a life of connection to God, a life of deeper connection, heart connection, soul friends. Money that comes in alignment with my soul, physical healing, and so much more. So what's possible? I think we've said this, but I'm just going to reiterate here. What's possible now? Following joy, following what feels right, not making decisions from fear. When I'm afraid, what do I need instead of how do I fix this? Prayer, intention, feeling, finding spaces to process my emotions, giving myself what I'm craving from the world, living in alignment with the feminine, co-creating with God, loving and honoring myself, choosing myself, devoting to something higher, right? I've always had that dedication, persistence, and devotion, patience, rest, and boundaries, and unapologetic love of self, you guys. And it's many things. So I'm trying to point to something really beautiful here. Now, with my health, when things come up, I don't see it as a problem. I see it as wisdom. My friend the other day said, your body is such a sensitive tuning fork. Like if you're not listening to the highest love of the moment, it'll get wonky. So it's just going, sweetheart, slow down, or sweetheart, it's okay to speak your truth, or sweetheart, their opinion doesn't matter, God's does, or whatever it may be. Easier said than done, but because I'm ever learning to listen to the wisdom of my body. But I understand that that's what it is now. And yeah, do I still take Advil if I need to, if something's in excruciating pain? Totally. So for acute things, I'm going to do something that's going to offer me relief. And I'm going to push it past when I can. Like if I don't need Advil and I'm in pain, I'm going to go do an EFT tapping video or feel my feelings or say, body, what's going on here? See if I can get that information. If it's too excruciating, I'll take the medicine. And then I'll do the soul work to say, nothing's broken. This is me wanting to expand into something more. This is old trauma. This is an opportunity for something to be loved. This is an emotion that needs to be processed, whatever it may be. I can just see it completely differently now. So, which has led me to things like more intimacy, more vulnerability, more connection, and just an open-hearted life of ease and flow and joy and peace. So that is a little bit, well, that was a lot of it of my story. But hopefully some of that, all of that speaks to you. And if it does speak to you, reach out to me, because I get it. I've been there. And I'm glad that I shared this with you guys, because a lot of people meet me and they're like, well, she's a nice, cheery soul. Has she been through pain? And yes, my physical ailments have brought me to my knees of terror and helplessness and hopelessness, made me feel broken, made me feel weak, made me feel ashamed, made me feel ugly, all the things. And I really had to learn that it was just a gift, a sensitive, beautiful soul who wasn't raised in an environment for a sensitive, beautiful soul innocently. And so I'm giving myself the medicine that a sensitive, beautiful soul needs now at 39 years old. So if I can serve you in being part of your medicine and your medicine journey, then reach out. I take a very small group of people, one-to-one. It is a commitment on all 4 levels: spiritually, emotionally, physically, energetically. But if you feel the call, I work with people for 6 months at a time. We go deep into all the pockets of where the fears lie. What were the illusions that you grew up in? What are you ready? What's your next level of your journey? What are you ready to expand into? Who's the unapologetic you that you came here to be? I've been doing, that's why I call myself a modern day seer. I've been doing psychic work for years, and I have an ability to hold space and see people where you're going next. And then serve you in, okay, what needs to be cleared and released in their field, what needs to be loved and nurtured so that this person can move through to be in their soul aligned success. So if that sounds like you, reach out. And I have many other offerings as well on my website. That one doesn't fit for you, then maybe there is something that does. And I have a contact form on my site, so you can reach out and tell me a little bit about your story and what you want. You know, if I gave you a magic wand and said, you could have this with your life, dreaming big is available, what would you like? So let me know. Let me know in the comments too. Thank you guys for spending time with me. I'm sending you lots of love on your journey, on your story. You are the medicine. You are enough. You are worthy. You are lovable as you are. And I'm sure one day when you go to the other side, you'll realize how much you did matter. Lots of love. And if you enjoyed this, like, thumbs up, subscribe, share it with a friend, and I'll see you all in the next video. Lots of love.